Why does everybody have such a thing for the iPad?
Look, I think it's a very interesting device because it combines the portability that you have with your mobile phone with the power of what a PC or a Mac was giving you, right? And so I think people were desiring that experience, right? Sort of a stronger mobile experience. And that's what the iPad has really driven. I think what you'll see over time is that the form factor will shrink a little bit to a probably more manageable mobile device rather than a sort of larger, notebook sized thing. But I think that's why it's being attractive. That's why all these other manufacturers like Samsung and others are going after that marketplace. I think there really is finally a market for it. I mean, I saw in the early 2000s people starting to develop handwriting software for tablet computers, and it obviously fell flat that first time. I think the time is right now. I think that's where people are going, and I think it's going to grow tremendously. And so we're trying to take advantage of it with our IP as well.
So is there a different money-making opportunity for the iPad versus the phones versus laptops? I mean, one person I've talked to described it as a better audience because they're more engaged.
Yeah, we do believe it will be a highly engaged audience, especially now. I mean, I think when you're talking multiple years down the road, when they're much more pervasive, maybe it may not be as engaged, it may just be average, But right now, we know that the audience that's there is an early adopter audience that is going to be likely more engaged with their device and with whatever they choose to do on their device. Why is it a better or worse experience? Hard to say. It depends on the app, right? It depends on what you're presenting to those people. So we think for our fans of our show, that the app that we're presenting them, which is really an app that enables people to go much more in depth into the show, we think it's sort of the right mix, right? We're hitting the right device with the right product. We saw this as a dual strategy for this. The first is the audience that's there, right? There are 6 to 7 million people that watched each episode of the first season of Spartacus. There are nearly 1 million Facebook fans. I mean, there's a big audience that liked this show. We're trying to give that audience that liked the show a more in-depth experience with it. So what we're providing them is the scripts in digital format, stylized, they look great, with a ton of interactive features, right? So we have directors and writers commentary, right? We have historical notes. We have video built into the script, so you can actually read what Stephen DeKnight wrote and then see how it was actually filmed and see the differences between what he wrote and how the thing was shot. So for cinephiles and for people that are really into the content, we've provided them a much deeper experience. For people that haven't seen the show, or are just getting interested, we provide this as sort of an app with intros, with trailers, with video, with things to experience, and the first episode of season 1, that script for free, as well as the first script of the new prequel that we're launching in January after it airs for free. So we're giving those things away to sort of get people involved in the show, and hopefully it grows our audience, the people that are on the iPad that haven't seen it, through our marketing efforts, and to the people that have seen the show and love the show and want a deeper experience.
So every year, the great right-wing conspiracy movement announces what we'll all want to do at CES. Last year was 3D TV. Clearly, that one was wrong. Everyone here is putting every dollar they have in the tablets and mobile. What makes you think that's the right direction at this point?
And I see two trends at CES this year, at least from the pre-reading that I've done, is one is that connected device applications, right? Whether they be a television, an iPad, or other things like that. So I do think that's a trend that's sticking right now. How those things last over the long term and how they play out, who knows? But I think this year that is the truth, and I think it's not 3D, right? It's not where 3D is sort of going to fizzle and sort of play there. I think people are into the applications for what they are. My personal theory is, look, do you need an application or do you need a website? Or it sort of doesn't matter if you're internet connected, whether you're using an app or you're using a straight web experience or IP experience. I think what the apps are now delivering is your ability to take it portable when you don't always have that connection. And that seems to be working. So I see this sort of as a trend that will stick for a couple years at least, until either those connections get more pervasive or people sort of don't like the app structure of how they navigate their machines and those kind of things. So we have a big Facebook fan base for Spartacus, nearly 1 million people already. And what we announced is that we're going to launch what we think is probably the second in the marketplace large-scale social media game based on a television property around Spartacus. It's called Spartacus: Gods of the Arena. It's the same title as our prequel season, which we're launching January 21st. Game goes live January 20th. Beta goes live on January 6th. And it is a full-blown, sort of fantasy gladiator experience. You're going to go in, you're going to own a ludus, which is the gladiator training camp, and you're going to, either buy or earn gladiators and fight them against other people in tournaments and try to sort of move your way up the Roman social hierarchy, at the same way the show plays out, for us in season 1 and in the prequel. So we saw the confluence of, we have a huge fan base for the show. We had a big Facebook fan base for the show. We saw the audience and money being driven by Facebook-based social media games, and said this property just lends itself very nicely to this type of gameplay. So We found the right developers, right promotional partners, and we're launching this game on the 20th. We have really high expectations for how it'll do.